Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0 and fans. You're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do what you call a comic book review. That's right, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the Superior Spider-Man Annual. That's right, guys. This takes place during Goblin Nation. Now, the writer of this particular story or stories in this issue is Christos Gage, not Dan Slott, but they co-write the whole Goblin Nation thing. The artwork is different in these books compared to the normal pencilers in here. You have Javier Rodriguez, I think, who does the first story, and then you have Felipe Briones, who does the second story. Um, the first story is probably more full, a lot more pages. The second story was a lot more shorter, probably about 10 pages or so. The artwork in this first story, we can see here, not as bright or not as colorful, not as detailed as what we're used to seeing from Herberto Ramos and Stegman and uh, Kamikoli, I think is his name. Yeah. But still, the artwork is desirable here. I enjoyed it. It's kind of a dark and sad feel to it, and I kind of felt that way when I read the issue, feeling for Ben Ulrich in this actual issue. Um, so, what did this story entail? What did this first story talk about? Well, basically, here in this first story, we get to see Ben Ulrich, reporter. Okay, you getting all this information from Nora Winters about how Phil has become the Hobgoblin. He's working for Green Goblin now, and he is a reporter, and he knows everything that there is to know, and except for his nephew, who was the Hobgoblin. And this issue takes place between issue, I think it's 28 and 29. That's when this story takes place. And then in the actual issue, we get to see that Ben is going to do anything that he can to save his nephew because he's under the influence of the goblin serum, and they're trying to find this antidote, and he comes across Carly Cooper, who obviously is suffered by the whole thing, and this goblin serum, this antidote, is in experimental stages, and he was willing to use it on his nephew to save him. There's some great battles here that take place between Spider-Man and the new Hobgoblin, as you can see here, which is really nice. And we can see that Ben is really ready to sacrifice anything that he can possibly can to save his nephew, but he's just in denial. And there's certain things in here that is said, certain dialogue that is said, is that before you mourn a loss, you have to learn to accept it. And in this particular issue, at the end, he's come to grips that there is no saving his nephew. And that's how this particular story ends up. Now, I gave this story a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I really liked, how Ben's character was and how he was willing to do whatever he can to save his nephew Phil. He thought that there was still hope from him, even when, from the very beginning when he said, "Oh, there's hope for him," because he was willing to protect, his uncle. But as soon as, Phil felt betrayed by his uncle, he gave up on his uncle almost immediately. So it was really great to see a more in-depth look at Phil and how he's gone crazy and how he's fallen down that dark path. So I really enjoyed this issue, or that particular story. The next story, I didn't enjoy as much, but it was just kind of thrown in there just to change the pace a little bit of Goblin Nation, and that's what I like about this. It kind of goes deeper into the story besides Peter Parker and Green Goblin. It goes into the other characters as well, and so you get to see Wraith in this particular issue going into Peter Parker Industries, and right away she comes across a goblin going after Miss Jaffrey, and what happens here is that the Wraith winds up going after her and starts kicking the crap out of her, and Carly can't control herself anymore. And when you saw in the last issue of Amazing or Superior Spider-Man, is that you can see that Miss Jaffrey was trying to come up with this cure, and she can't really control herself. But when the Wraith comes in and starts beating the crap out of her, that's it. You know, Carly's lost it. There's nothing to save her anymore. And so what happens in the issue is that you get to see Miss Jeffrey try to use this antidote. And what happens at the end, I'm not going to tell you, but we can see that the Wraith is kind of surprised at the whole events and what happens, and then she winds up taking off. The artwork in this particular part of the issue I thought was better. I thought it was a little bit more detailed, something that fits Spider-Man's artwork, his style. I feel that his title needs a little bit more detail to appreciate the character for what it's worth. But this part of the story was a little bit more filler. It's just you get to see what happens to Carly now, to see if she is alive or dead. Yeah, this was good. This one was a 3.5 out of 5. So overall, I'm going to give this book a solid 4. Again, I thought it was well done dialogue between Ben and his nephew and the way his story went. The other part of the story was short, but it was impactful, but with better artwork. And overall, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Again, good change of pace from things. Besides dealing with Superior and the Green Goblin, you get to see more of these other characters. So as an annual, I definitely suggest this. This kind of ties in heavily to what's going on in Goblin Nation. Not much Spider-Man here, but it's not needed. And so as, again, overall, 4 out of 5 for me. And guys, tell me in the comments below what you thought of the Superior Spider-Man Annual issue number 2. So guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Don't forget to check out this channel right here, Comic Frontline. And guys, until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.